full guide on how to raise your pig and to strengthen their immune system against any kind of diseases. Full guide you need to know on how to protect your pigs from any kind of diseases, whatsoever disease. This is it. We want to start from the piglets. Yes. When your pig farrows, those piglets that are just come to life is the essence of which you will use in growing your farm. It is those piglets that will make your farm to progress. Yes. Those piglets are very, very important in your farm. Yes, that is why it is very important that you keep those piglets alive. Number one thing you got to do when it comes to those piglets after they are farrowed, after they come to life, is that you have to take special care of them. Those piglets need special care. What I mean special care is that you have to monitor them very, very well. First, started from the time that their mother gave birth to them, you have to see whether they are being matched by the father. What kind of shit is it? Is it white cheese? Is it greenish? How are they feeling? Are they able to suck the mother's breast, or are they not? And whatsoever, you have to monitor those piglets first. Then more so, after 24 hours of life, it may be 48 hours, but before it gets to 72 hours, you have to inject those piglets with iron. Yes, you have to give them iron. The function of this iron is that it will strengthen their immune system and also strengthen the bone so that they can move around in order to suck the mother's breast, and also move around as an exercise so as to strengthen the bone more and more so that they will grow. Without this iron, after 24 hours of life, the amount of iron that is in the mother's body would not be sufficient for them to survive, especially in the first 1 week of life. Yes, the amount of iron that is in the mother's body when they suck it from the breast would not be enough for those piglets to be able to move around and survive, especially the first 7 days of life. So that's why you got to inject them with this iron so as to strengthen their bone and also harden the muscles so that they can move around and do some exercise to motivate the body and also take the mother's breast whenever they want to do that. Yes, do not forget, we are talking about how we can strengthen the immunity of our pig so that they can withstand any kind of disease that they may attack them. And we are starting from the piglet. Yes, why we are starting from the piglet is that it is this piglet that will make your farm to multiply. Yes, you will not be buying pigs every day in order to multiply. You get the piglet. When you grow your piglet, make them to become strong. This is what will keep your farm progressing every day. Yes, so the first thing you got to do is that you have to monitor this piglet. Make sure they are not matched by the mother. See how they are faring, whether they can take the breast or they cannot, and inject them with iron exactly after 48 hours of life or before 48 hours of life, but it must be more than 24 hours. Yes, some people will do this after 3 days, but me, I would advise that you do it exactly 48 hours. That is it. After you do this, there are some drugs. That I specially made in order to strengthen this piglet and also make them to feed when you want to wean them from the mother. Yes, there are those drugs that would vitalize their immunity so that they can survive most of the attack. Yes, those drugs, we know that you have to get to your veterinary doctors, ask them the drugs that will motivate your pig or will protect or increase their immunity against any disease, especially after they might have been separated from the mother. Yes. More so, when you are separating them from the mother, another thing that makes your piglet to have a very weak immune system is coldness. Coldness. We know that most of the pig that we cultivate come from a cold country, and they require a lot of coldness than they will need heat. Yes, that is very, very true. But the point is that those piglets do not need much cold. Yes, in some places they will make some fire pots so that the piglet will go around the fire pot and snap some heat, especially in the cold season of the time. Those piglets need a little heat. Yes, not too much heat, at least a little heat. When they have this heat, you will discover that they will not have some diarrhea. Yes, and this heat will make sure that the temperature that they are living would not be a kind of situation whereby most of the bacteria and fungi will be able to survive there. When their body is able to at least have some little heat, that will help their body to regulate very well and thereby strengthen their immunity to fight most of the bacteria that they may come in contact with. But when they are exposed to cold, that means there are some bacteria that would multiply so numerous around their environment. When they get in contact with these bacteria, because of the coldness, their body system will be so down, not be able to regulate in order to fight that bacteria so that they could keep their health in a good shape. So that's why it is advisable that you must keep your piglet in a place that is a little bit warm. Yes, they need that warm, at least a little of it. They need that warm. Yes. So after you might have injected them with iron in the first 3 days, set them in a place that is a little bit hot, and also give them some necessary drugs, especially multivitamins and all the anti-insecticide and some antibiotics that will help them to fight against some bacteria. Then you now know that you are free to start. Yes, those piglets are ready to go by themselves. They don't more depend on the mother. They are about to survive by themselves. So by this time, you also check the kind of feedings you have to give them. The feeding that you have to give them also matters a lot. Why do we mention the feeding here? Well, the reason why we mention the feeding here is that there is a kind of feed that you give your piglets, and this feed will either make them to have diarrhea or make their body system to become weak against some disease. Yes, there are special concentrates that are made for piglet. Yes, we got a special concentrated feed which are made mainly for piglet. These feeds are made by experts who know the amount of quantity and the amount of quality of all the vitamins and minerals that should be injected in this feed, so I have to give them the necessary vitamin that they will help them to survive and also strengthen their immunity to fight any kind of disease. So if you formulate any kind of food and give to your pig, or you cannot get this piglet concentrate, sometimes we call it piglet starters mash, or feed for little piglet, whatsoever name depending on the company. But what I know about it is that it's a concentrate mainly for piglet. You may make this concentrate with a broiler starter or so, or some wheatover, but it's a specially concentrate that are made mainly for this piglet. When you give them this kind of food, you will discover that their immunity will become very strong, and from there they will be able to fight any kind of disease that they may come in contact with, especially if the house or the place that you keep them is a little bit warm. But when we talk about this heat or the place that they are living to be warm, for how long? Well, I want to tell you that you have to keep them in this place that is warm at least in the first 3 months. At least in their first 3 months of life. After 3 months, you are free to let them be in a cold place. Yes, because after these 3 months, their immunity are now strong, able to fight most of the disease. Yes, so that's why you have to make sure that you keep them in a place that is warm at least in their first 3 months of life. Then after that, even though you want to set them in a hall or whatsoever place, they are free to go. That is it. Another important thing that will help to strengthen the immunity of your piglet against any diseases is cleanliness. Yes, cleanliness of the environment and cleanliness in the feed that they are eating, and also cleanliness in the water that they are drinking. Well, it is mainly good that we have a separate place of feed and a separate place of drinking water for our piglet. That is what I mean here is that you have to give your piglet food which is dry. You give them dry food. Why we especially recommend this dry food is that most of the bacteria will not be able to survive in that dry condition than they will survive in a wet condition. That is, if you give a food to your piglet and you mix it with water, this may attract some bacteria that may survive, and the body of those little piglets will not be able to kill these bacteria. So that's why it is mostly recommended that we give them feed which is dry. Yes, we give them feed which is dry. When we give them this dry feed, we know that at least we are able to control some of the bacteria. Yes, some of the bacteria that may attack their feed, which will later transfer to their body, of which their body will not be able to eliminate those bacteria so that they maintain their normal health condition. So you give them a separate feed in a dry place and also set a separate place for them to drink their water. Then how clean is their water? Yes, your piglet need a very clean water, as clean as the one that you drink yourself. Your piglet need a very clean water, as clean as the one you drink yourself. You don't just give them any kind of water which is dirty or so. You have to give them a clean water. When you give them this kind of water, yes, you thereby ensure that you are able to control most of the bacteria that will get into their body. You know, as they are piglet, their body is very weak and fragile. So you have to give them water that is free from bacteria and parasite as well. So when you give them this clean water, you now ensure that what gets into their body is not full of bacteria. Yes. Then what of their feet? Their feet also must be clean. One of the reasons why we will make sure that the feed is clean, free from bacteria, is that this feed must be dry. Like the concentrate that I've mentioned, it is made in a dry form. So even though you want to mix it with whatsoever kind of feed, you must make sure that the feed is dry. And most so, you do not keep this feed. Most of them comes in bags. You do not just keep the bags in a floor that may be attacked by some fungi or parasite. You have to lift up the bag and keep it on top of something, and also keep this food in the place that is dry. You don't just keep this animal feed in a wet and dirty place that may be attacked by some ant, parasite or some so. You keep them in a place that is a little bit dry and on top of something, not just in the floor, so that you make sure that most bacteria or parasites do not come in contact with this feed when they are in bags. Yes. Then another thing is that when you are giving this feed to your pigs, you must make sure that all of them, no matter how many they are able to get to the feed. Yes, so that all of them will eat the feed successfully. That is, you have to put this feed in a place that is open, so that all of them, because some farmers will put as numerous as 10 to 50 piglets in a particular place. Yes, in some big farmers, you will see them, they will put sometimes 100 piglets in a particular place. If you want to do something of such, that means you got to make sure that the place that the feed will be set to those piglets is numerous, not only in a specific place, but in numerous places. Why it must be numerous? Most of the pig would like to bully their brother. Yes. So if it is bullied in this particular point of feeding, then the one that is bullied will now move to other place where the other one that are there will not bully him. From there, he will eat his food in peace. But when you put a one place so that all of them will feed at the same time, that means most of them will not be able to get to the feed. Yes, even though that place is open and big, most of them will not be able to get to the feed, because if they want to do, most of the brothers will try to bully some of them. And one thing is that when these piglets are not getting enough feed, they may also feel sicky, and that also may weaken their immune system. Yes, when they are not having enough feed, that also may weaken their immune system. Don't forget, we are talking about how to strengthen the immunity of our pig against any kind of diseases. I'm starting with the piglet. So if they are not able to eat the food that you have given to them, at least enough of it, that means their immunity will not be strengthened, because this feed that you are given to them is already concentrated in all the vitamins and minerals that will make them to survive and stay healthy. Yes, and also strengthen their immune system. So if they cannot get this food, how strong would they be? They will not. Yes. So at the end, you may discover most of them dying. Yes. You don't want to have any of your pig dead. Yes. Or piglet dead. So if you don't want to see this in your farm, that means you got to make sure that these piglets are alive. It is this piglet that will make your farm to grow. If you cannot keep this piglet alive, your farm will never grow. That's why those piglets are very, very important in the farm. They are very, very important. Some people will just neglect those piglets and concentrate on those mature ones. No, you have to start your concentration on this piglet, because it is this piglet that will make your farm to grow. Most of the video I made, I especially concentrate on the piglet the most. Why I concentrate on the piglet the most is that whenever they come out, whenever they are farrowed, small time, a matter of 4 to 5 months, they are now become pigs. They are now big enough either to be sold or to be slaughtered or whatsoever. So, but if you cannot get them alive, you may take for a long time without having your farm expanding. Yes, so whatever you want to do in your farm, either to strengthen their immunity or to keep them alive or whatsoever, you start first from the piglet. Yes, this is what most people do not know about pig farming. This is what most farmers should not know, that your most concentration will be on the piglet, not on those mature ones. Those mature ones already, their body can withstand most of the effects, as in terms of disease, in terms of whatsoever, or even harsh condition. But these piglets, they are not. Yes, those piglets are not. That's why you got to concentrate mostly on this piglet. Yes, if you can concentrate mostly on strengthening the immune system of your piglets so that they do not contact any kind of diseases, that means you are free to go. The more piglet you have, the more your farm will expand. Forget about the feeding of those piglets. When they are young, they will not consume much money. And sometimes you can make a lot of money by selling out those piglets, especially when they are young. It is when they become bigger and older that they will consume more food and thereby absorb much of your money. Yes, but when they are piglet, they will not consume much. Yes, and when they are not consuming much, it's very easy that you make more gain when they are not consuming much. But when they might have stayed in your farm for like let me say a year or 8 months or so, that is when they will start consuming more and more. That is it. So you must make sure that you concentrate mostly on those piglets, because it is those ones that will make your farm to expand. Yes. Then we have now finished with the piglet. We have talked more about the piglet. Then now let us now go to the mature pig. What we got to do in order to strengthen their immunity. Yes. Here in Africa, we usually hear that there are some kind of diseases that do afflict farmers, especially pig farmers. Yes, these disease that have been disturbing farmers here in Africa If you go to some European country or Chinese country, they may not get such kind of problem in their farm. Why? Why is it that it is Africa most of the time that somebody is effect or this disease in their farm, but if you go to some European country or Asian country, you don't have that particular sickness? The reason is that number one reason why Africa has been having most of this disease is dirtiness in their pig sty. That is how their pig sty is, how clean is the pig sty or how dirty is the pig sty determine why most of the African farmers have problem of disease in their farm. Yes, it is very common that pigs are animals that are mostly like to rubbish their place of living, or they will just shit around, mess up the whole place so that the place will look dirty. So some people think that you cannot keep those animals clean, that since they are dirty animals, you have to always keep them in a dirty place because they like to survive in a dirty place, they like to mingle in dirty place and so. But that is wrong. If you allow your animal to live in a dirty place or in the place that is dirty, it is obvious that you will have some disease that will attack them, either seasonal or monthly or sometime every 3 years. That disease will like to survey itself repeatedly. Yes, that is why if you go to those European countries I mentioned, they will not have that kind of a problem, because they must make sure that their pig sty is very clean with a very good drainage system. Yes, so it is very important that you keep your pig sty clean. Cleanliness is very important. If your pig sty is not clean, that means there is no way your pig will not get in contact with one kind of illness or the other. You wake up, hit up swine fever, lice, all these kind of numerous or sickness that are associated with pig. Yes, most of those sicknesses are communicable. They may be transferred from one farm to the other. But when the immunity of your pig are strong, they can withstand most of these illness from attacking them. That their body system, if it is strong, can withstand. And if your pig sty is clean, as I'm saying, that means you will be able, your pig would not necessarily get in contact with any kind of disease. So that's why it is very important that we keep our pig sty clean. Yes, very important that we keep our pig sty clean. If you cannot keep your pig sty clean, that means your pig may get any kind of disease at any time. Yes, that is why most of the people who get into farming need some tips or some information or training perhaps in order to get what is the most important thing they need to know before embarking on piggery farming. If you just embark on piggery farming without acquiring adequate knowledge, it may result in you having a lot of lose instead of gain. So that's why I was focusing mostly on keeping your pig sty clean. If you keep your pig sty clean, how can this strengthen the immunity of your pig? Yes, this is how it will strengthen the immunity of your pig. If your pig sty is clean, the amount of bacteria or parasite that your pig will be exposed to will be limited. Because if your pig is exposed to a lot of bacteria, those bacteria is already in their body. Their immunity is continually fighting with those bacteria so as to maintain the health of their pig. As they are fighting against the bacteria, that is, the immunity of your pig is getting lower every day as it is fighting. So if another disease come on top of the one that your pig is already fighting with immunity, that will drop down the immunity of your piglet and the pig will get sick. But if your piglet or your pig already is not having any disease that is disturbing its immunity, the immunity will remain strong because there is nothing that is disturbing the immune system of your pig. It will remain strong. So if a new disease now come on top of it, they will not have problem fighting the new diseases. Yes, they will not have problem fighting the new diseases. It's just like if you're having a country that is having a civil war, they are already fighting a civil war, or let me say communal war between themselves. They are fighting. If the enemy come, external enemy come, will they be able to withstand the external enemy? They will not, because inside they were already weakening by the continuous war that they are having between themselves. If the external war comes, it will be very easy for the enemy to devour them. So that is it with the immune system of our pig. If our pig is in a dirty place, exposed to most of bacteria and parasites, their body will have to keep fighting in order to keep the pig living. Yes, in order to keep the pig healthy. So now, as their immune system keep fighting with those bacteria because of the dirty environment that they are living, their immunity will be weakened. Yes. So if a new disease comes, that means it's going to drop down completely the immune system of your pig, and your pig will become very weak fighting this particular enemy, and thereby they will be devoured. And you will hear from people saying, my farm has been attacked by this kind of disease that have been killing all our pigs, and so and so. That is it. So cleanliness is very, very important in maintaining in strengthening the immunity of our pig. This is what most farmers do not know. This is what most farmers do not know. If your pig tea is very clean, that means the less bacteria your pig is exposed to. Yes. If your pig pen is clean, that means the less bacteria your pig is exposed to. And the less bacteria they are exposed to, that means their immunity is not fighting most war. Yes. Your immunity, the immunity of a living thing to fight disease is like waging war. Yes. The more war they wage, the more weaker the warriors become. The more war they wage, the more weaker the warriors become. The less war, the more strengthened the warriors become. So the immunity of your pig is just like the immunity of your body. Yes, you will not allow them to be fighting war all the time by fighting bacteria that they are exposed due to a dirty environment or so. So that's why whenever we are constructing our pig stay, we must make sure that our pig stay have enough drainage system, because most of this dirtiness in the pig stay is from drainage. When the drainage is bad, there is no way you will keep your pig stay clean. There is no way. When the drainage system of your pig stay is bad, there is no way you can keep that pig stay clean. You have to make sure that you have a very good drainage system. Yes, a drainage system that will be able to flush off the water whenever it gets into the pig stay. To flush off the water immediately. When the water is flushed off immediately in the pig stay, that is it will be easy for you to clean the pig stay, and also be very easy to maintain the pig stay and make it clean all the time. But when you have a bad drainage system, it will be very hard for you to keep the pig stay clean. In fact, there is how the drainage system will be bad to the extent that you cannot even keep the pig stay clean at all. It will always be dirty and dirty and dirty. And as your pig stay is getting dirty every day, the more danger your pig is in terms of being exposed to any disease that may devour them and finish the whole pig in your farm. Yes, and you wouldn't want that to happen to your pig. Yes, so that's why it is very important that when we are about to construct our pig stay or pig pen, we have to make sure that we make a good handwork. You have to get people who are experts, who know how to control a pig pen, to construct it so as to make the drainage system very, very good. When the drainage system is good, it will be now easy, very easy for you to maintain and clean the pig stay. Yes, so that's why we have to make sure that our drainage system is good. Yes, that is it. Most time, we have to have a place after the pig pen is drenched from all the waste. We have to get a place that all these waste will go. That's what we got called a lagoon. All farmers that is about to have a progressive business running must have a good lagoon. Yes, so as to maintain the cleanliness in your pig farm, you have to have a lagoon. What I mean here by lagoon is a place whereby all the waste will wash down to. All these waste will wash down to the lagoon. Yes, when all these waste are washed down to the lagoon, then now your pig tea is free, is clean. What is wash down? wash down to the lagoon may serve as a manure to you or whatsoever, but you have to make sure that the lagoon is a little bit far away from the pigsty. Yes, so as to control fly from moving from your lagoon to your pigsty. But you must make sure that you have a good lagoon that will be able to contain all the waste that is drained down from the drainage system of your pigsty to the lagoon. So that is a process of keeping your pigsty clean so as to maintain the health and the immunity of your animal. Now I'm talking mostly about the pig. I've finished with the piglet and talking mostly now about the pig, those mature ones, how to maintain their immune system so that they will be able to fight against any kind of disease that they may come in contact with, especially the disease that they are not used to, their body is not used to at the first place. So I've mentioned that you have to make sure that your pig is clean. That is number one thing. To do this, you must have first a good drainage system, and also make sure that you have enough water in your pigsty that will be able to drain or to flush all the waste down to the lagoon. You must need enough water, very, very important. And most so, you yourself must make sure that you have a habit, or you pay someone who will be cleaning your pigsty, if not every day, at least twice a week. If not every day, at least 2 to 3 times a week. But I would advise that you do that daily. But if you cannot do that daily, make sure that you do it twice a week. Thorough cleaning of your pigsty twice a week in order to maintain cleanliness in your pigsty. Yes. If your pigsty is dirty, how do you feel when you look at it? You will not like it. You will not like it. But if it is clean, you will be boastful of it. You can invite others to come and look at your pigsty, how it's looking. But when it's dirty, you will not like what you will see. Yes, that's another point. Then, most so, another important factor in maintaining the immunity of the pig that we are raising is vaccination and administrations of the necessary drugs. We have to vaccinate our pig and also administer the necessary drugs and in time. Yes, this one is the area whereby you will need your veterinary doctor. And if you don't have a veterinary doctor, or you don't want to pay a veterinary doctor or get a veterinary doctor to concentrate on this area, that means you yourself must go for a training basically on this. You must be trained basically on how to handle this part. Your pig need drugs. They need administration of drugs, and sometimes they need to be vaccinated against some forms of disease that may be either rampant in the area or are expected to visit your farm soon or later. It's very important that you vaccinate your animals against that. Vaccination of animal was mostly done by some European who start raising pigs and from animal. Most of these animals they will take from the forest and bring into the domestic scene. So they have to vaccinate them with some kind of drug so that their immune system would be able to fight against or withstand most of the disease that they may come in contact with. Yes, so vaccination of animal is very, very important. Yes, vaccination of your pig is very, very important. Vaccinate against what? Vaccinate against the expected disease that may visit your farm, or one that is rampant or whatsoever. That's why you have to get your veterinary doctors informed in time and get some tips or some ideas from him what you need to do in order to vaccinate your animal. Then what of administration of drugs? Our pig do get sick most of the time. They do get sick. For example, there is this problem that we usually know that they are attacking our pig here in Africa, like worm infection is very, very common. Worm infection on pig is very, very common. That is why we have the wormazine in sachet, in liquid, in whatsoever, even injection. Why do we need the wormazine? Well, the more worm your pig is infected, the body of your pig, the more the immune system of that pig will become weakened. It may be that this worm infection did not disturb those pigs, but is weakening their immune system. Yes, it's weakening their immune system. That's why it is necessary that from time to time you have to administer warmacine infection to your pig. You have to administer warmacine infection drugs to your pig. So when you give them these warmacine infection drugs, either it will finish all the worm that is disturbing the pig or is in the body of the pig, especially those harmful ones, or it may reduce. And when there is no worm in the body of the pig or it is reduced, that means it will now free the immunity of your pig. It will now free the immune system of your pig so that it could be able to fight any disease that may attack them. Yes, so that's why we got to make sure that either we deworm our pig from time to time, or we get our veterinary doctors, if we do not have idea about that, on what to do in order to make sure that we reworm our pig from time to time. Yes, when we do this, that means the immunity of our pig will become stronger because there is nothing that is attacking the immunity of those pigs. Yes, but when they are attacked either by worm infection or one kind of a thing, that means they will have weak immune system, which will later affect them in case they are having another disease that may are attacking them. That is very, very important. That is very, very important. So you have to make sure that you get your pet doctor or veterinary doctor. That means if you don't have an idea, but if you have an idea on what to do, or you are trained, or you have the adequate information on what to do, then you know what I'm talking about in this area. Yes, you have to continue to do the necessary thing in order to make sure that the health of your animal remains. Yes, that is it. Apart from the warmazine drugs, we have other drugs, antibiotics, anti-insecticide, and most of the drugs that several companies have produced in order to maintain the health of our animal and make sure that they are not being disturbed by some disease or kind of infection that will weaken their immune system continuously. Yes. Then another thing is that we have to go on to the area of feeding. What kind of feed do we give to our pig? And how do we feed them? This is very, very important in strengthening their immune system. Yes, it's very, very important in strengthening their immune system. The kind of feed that we are giving to our piglet or to our pig, yes, I'm focusing on pig now. The kind of feed that we give to our mature pigs will matter how their health would look like, how strong their immune system will look. Yes, if the feed that we are giving to them is lacking in most of the vitamins, that means their immunity will also be lacking in terms of security and strength. Yes, even in the human body, we know what protein and folic acid can do to the human body. We know how important protein, folic acid, and iron will do to the human body. So your animal also needs those vitamins as well. Your animal needs vitamin A, your animal needs vitamin D, your animal needs vitamin B complex, and most of the other ones, just as your body needs. Because it is this vitamin that will help to strengthen their immune system. And where would they get this vitamin? Is it from injection? No, not from injection. They must get this vitamin naturally from the feed that your animal is eating. Yes, they must get this vitamin naturally from the feed that your animal is eating. Yes, if your animal is eating food that is very insufficient of this vitamin, that means the body will also have insufficient of this vitamin as well. But if the vitamins that is in the feed of your animal is enough, that means your animal itself will also have enough of this vitamin stored in their body in order to strengthen their immune system against any kind of disease. Earlier, I made a video on how to mix and what we got to put in our feeding or in the feed of our animal in a daily basis. What and what can we combine? Yes, so that we give to our animal. And most of these things that I made a video on are something that we can get very cheap. Yes, but they are very high in terms of protein and vitamin. Yes, if you watch the video, you will see I made a video on what and what we should give to our animal that will be cheaper and also giving them the enough vitamins and minerals that they need in order to strengthen their immune system. But if you give them one particular food that is not enough in all the vitamins that I'm mentioning, that means your animal will also be lacking in terms of defensive security, that is the immune system, against the disease that may attack their body at any time. Yes. So if you do not give your animal the food that is complete in the classes of food, we have 6 classes of food. So you have to make sure that you give your animal all this. That means your animal will also be lacking in terms of immune system. But if you give them a good food that will strengthen their immune system, yes, that means their immune system will also be intact, ready for any kind of disease that may attack them. We know pig is a kind of animal whereby whenever their immune system has dropped, if you are pig farmers who has been on the business for a long time, you discover that whenever the immune system of your animals has fell flat, for it to come back again, it is very hard. Yes, that is the kind of body that pigs have. Whenever their immune system drop flat, for it to come back again is very hard. That's why whenever your pig fall down flat, cannot eat again, cannot stand up, that is bye-bye to that pig. That is bye-bye. So whatsoever you have to do in terms of their immunity or in their health, you have to do it when it is still standing, when the immune system do not fall flat. Pig is not like a human. A human will fall sick like this, it will just fall flat, it will be vomiting, it cannot walk, it cannot even eat. But when you give them just 1 or 2 drops, it will wake up, start eating and start moving. That means the immune system is be able to revitalize and it has revived. But pig is not like that. You must make sure that the immune system did not fall flat. Whenever it fell flat, for it to come back, it will be very difficult. Very, very difficult. That's why we have to give preservation. We have to protect it in advance so that it not get to that point. Because whenever it get to that point, you will lose a lot of pigs. Because to revive them will be very tough. That's why whatsoever you got to do, you have to do it in advance, in preparation, so that you make sure that this pig will come back, will remain, their immunity will remain intact on whatsoever case. Yes. So what am I saying in essence? Yes. What I'm saying in essence is that for you to be able to make sure that the immunity of your pig, mature one especially, is intact in terms of being able to fight against any kind of diseases that may come in contact with your pig, you must make sure that you keep your pigs clean. Give them a good food that will strengthen their immune system, and also administer all the necessary drugs and in time. Yes, administer all the necessary drugs and in time. This area I mentioned that you have to get your veterinary doctors informed. That means if you do not have adequate knowledge on how to inject or to administer any kind of drugs to your animal, yes, those 3 areas most especially you need to concentrate in order to maintain the immunity of your pig strong and at all time. When you maintain this, you keep these 3 things that I mentioned in a high momentum, you discover that the health of your piglet will improve, and for them to get in contact with any kind of disease, it will not be as easy as it is. Yes, that is it. Then another point we have to mention, which is also very, very important, is the water that I've been saying. You need a lot of water in your pig stew. I've made a video on this. You need a lot more water on your pig stew. Your pig, whether it is a piglet or a mature one, need clean water in their body system, and they need plenty of water in order to flush whatsoever case, even in their body system, and also plenty of water to flush their pig stew so as to maintain the pig stew clean. If you don't have enough water in your pig stew or your pig pen, it will also be difficult as well for you to be able to manage that pig stew in a clean form. Yes, and maintain all what I've mentioned here, their health, the cleanness of the pig stew, and also the cleanness of the water they are drinking. If you do not have enough water running or you cannot get enough water to your pig stew, all these things will be tough for you to be able to do. It will become tough for you to do all that I'm saying. So that's why you need plenty of water, whatsoever means. either to fetch the water or to connect from somewhere or whatsoever mean, you need plenty of this water in your pigsty. Yes, you need them plenty in your pigsty, because if you don't have this water, you may have one or two difficulties managing your pigsty in the way that you will make profit out of it. Yes, I've been giving out a lot of information pertaining to how we can use water in our pigsty, water in order to maintain the temperature of our pig, especially if you are in a very hot zone. If you are living in a very hot zone, you need water as well, especially for those mature pig, not to the piglet. For those mature pig, need water to regulate their temperature, to clean the environment, and also give them enough water to drink at enough time. Yes, that's why water is very, very important in your pigsty. Yeah. Then most so, you have to protect your pigsty against invasion by other animals. Protect your pigsty against being invaded by other animals. What am I saying? There are some animals that are not friendly with pig at all. There are some animals which are not friendly with pig at all. Let me start from very small one that you cannot think it is very dangerous. Very small one. Let me start from animal that we call rats. Everybody know rat. Rats are like thieves. They are right arm robbers. They can break it to anywhere in order to get food or to destroy some legal thing that you keep in your store or whatsoever. Your pig is not friendly with them at all. They can cause a very serious disease to your pig. Those rats will just pick something anywhere and eat at all time. They may get some poisonous or infected object somewhere and infect the food that you are giving to your pig. You may keep your pig food in a store. Then those animals called rat will bring either poison from their mouth or bacteria or some kind of disease from their mouth, get into your storehouse, choke the back of the feed, and infect your animal feed with their poisonous or venoms. Yes, so that's why where you keep your animal feed, you have to protect it from rats. Yes, you have to protect it from rats. Rat itself may not have a disease, but they can bring one kind of poisonous venom from one bacteria or whatsoever case and infect your animal feed. And when they do this, you may discover that when your animal take this feed, the bacteria will get into their body and their immunity will start struggling with it, thereby weakening the immunity of that animal, because it will be struggling without to kill those bacteria that the rat has just infected with infected the feed that they are eating. So that's why you have to protect, especially your storehouse, against that animal. Another animal that you must not allow it to get into your pigsty, you must protect your pigsty against it, is snake. Yes, a mere one bite of snake on your pig, if it is a small one, it will die in a matter of 30 minutes. But if it is a big one, depending on the body weight, that animal, that your pig may sustain at least for some 2 weeks or 3 weeks before it dies, or sometimes may not even die at all. But the venom that snake has put into the body of that animal will make the immune system of that animal to struggle with those venoms, in order to allow the animal to keep living. The immune system of that animal will struggle with those venom. Even though it will overcome the venom and the animal will still living, but already is weakening the immune system of that animal. Yes,